AFTV, Julian, 5-0, an emphatic win for Arsenal, and so many great stories to come out of it. Max Dowman, Eze at the start being announced, and of course, 2 goals for Victor Gyökeres.
Yeah, look, everything was brilliant today. People have come on, I've not heard one bad word said about any player, said about Arteta, said about Andrea Berta. Everyone's been totally complimentary and totally positive about everyone connected with Arsenal. The only people that I don't hear, and there's nothing negative being said about them, but I think we really need to give credit to the people that have actually put their hand in their pocket and bought all these players and provided all these squads. And when Eze came out and everyone's singing his name and, you know, everyone's so positive. We took him from Tottenham. It's just a brilliant, brilliant situation. Why don't they just sing the Kroenkes name? You know, I mean, isn't it time?
You should have started off the chant.
Well, I did, but I was the only one in the stadium that did. You know, it's deafening silence. Are you looking at it now and thinking they need to get a lot of credit? I mean, been criticised heavily over the years, and I think, you know, a lot of times deservedly so. But like you said, they have put their money where their mouth is right now. Yeah, they have. If anything, the only thing we need to do in the transfer market now is offload some of our players and hopefully get a little bit of money back, because one thing we haven't been great at over the years has been actually selling players.
Yeah.
So Berta, you cannot criticise a guy. The guy's come in and he's done a fabulous job, and now it's the flip side of that job. He's now
and they brought him in.
Yeah, and they brought him in. They brought him in, and Berta's now got to go out and he's got to start offloading players, and it's going to be a difficult one because other teams know that we don't need these players. You know, look at the players that didn't even make the bench today, and we've got injuries.
Yeah,
you know,
no Zinchenko on there, no Reece Nelson, Fabio Vieira. Yeah, you know, I mean, Lokonga.
I mean, these are some of them are international players.
Yeah.
Can't even make our bench. Our squad. I mean, I can't even get my head around it. I've been watching Arsenal. I think my first game was 1976. I have not seen, this includes the Invincibles, I'm not talking about a first 11, but a squad as strong as this ever in the whole time I've ever been watching Arsenal. And I think that's credit to the Kroenkes.
All right, yeah, you've got to give them credit for that. They have put their money where their mouth is. You heard what Yardman said earlier. He goes, but that means now no excuses for the manager. He's got to go over there and try and deliver something now.
Absolutely no excuses. When you look at the players, when you look at the squad, when you look at everything connected with this club, you're quite right. He's got no excuses, because the only thing that can go wrong is playing those players together and making sure that we don't just have fabulous players and a fabulous squad, but we have a fabulous team that is cohesive together, can play well together, has the right tactics, and goes out and does what we did today. Because so far, so good. I mean, he's not done. He's done a fantastic job up to now. You talk about Arteta potentially being the weak link, but you look at his performances and his win ratio, and I know he's only won the FA Cup, but you look at what he's achieved if you take those trophies away, and it's I think he's the most successful manager ever when you look at his win ratio. And I know people judge things on trophies, but there's other factors. There's been contributory factors involved with him not winning, and part of it is the opposition. And one of the opposition we're playing that's been absolute quality is Liverpool next week.
Yeah, Liverpool next week, and Victor Gyökeres, encouraging signs from him today. I mean, looked a real handful. Got off to a bit of a dodgy start when he missed that chance. But after that, he looked a real handful. I mean, he's quick, he's strong, he's a pretty old-fashioned number 9, but he looks dangerous.
Yeah, he looks dangerous, but I'd like to talk a little bit about Leeds, because we are all positive here. But part of the reason we won to the levels that we did was because of Leeds. And Daniel Farke was true to his word. In his press conference before the game, he said that Leeds would be true to their DNA. They wouldn't sit back and just defend. So that's the kind of teams that we want to play.
They didn't really attack. I thought they did sit back and defend. You thought they attacked? I don't think they had a shot in the second half, did they?
Well, they had one shot the whole game.
I'm not really an attacking.
But they didn't sit back. They played the game how we wanted it played.
I thought they did sit back. I thought they sat very deep. I thought it was a low block again.
Well, for me,
Where was they attacking?
Well, they attacked down the. They tried. They tried to
down,
play.
like, down the flanks, but it's a low block.
Look, I'm not saying that's successful. It's a little bit tongue in cheek. One of the reasons we won that game so emphatically was because they weren't up to the levels that we're used to playing, and the organisation that they had wasn't good enough. And the other part of it, and we did struggle a little bit, because Lee sort of highlighted something that I think a lot of us have forgotten about, was the save that Raya made, which was probably the best chance of the game up to that point. We could have been 1-0 down, but what got us the first goal, what opened it up for us, was something that we've been relying on for a long time, which we're fabulous at, which is set pieces. And they absolutely didn't have the answer to that. They're one of the weakest teams in the league at defending set pieces. And to me, I'm not a master tactician, but I understand one of the reasons why we're scoring these set pieces. What we're doing, we're creating chaos in the box. We're loading the box full of players. We've got players moving all over the place, and the box is congested. Last season, I remember Palace did it, I think Spurs did it. They pulled players out out the box, so we had to pull players out of the box. And then what happened was the box was less.
And we still scored against them as well.
We did score, but I think that's I hope people that don't listen to this and other teams don't employ this tactic. But I think the way to combat that is doing exactly that and pulling more players out, and then we won't be able to do that. Because if we hadn't got that set piece goal, I think it would have been an entirely different story. That's what really opened them up.
Oh, that's what you've got to do sometimes in a game. I mean, we saw Chelsea yesterday, 1-0 down, they came back. I mean, that's how it goes. You've got to have the firepower, and I think Arsenal at the moment look like this season they're going to have firepower.
Yeah, it means so.
That's what's been lacking in years gone by.
Look, we can only beat what's in front of us. We beat Man United, and that was a good performance by Man United. The Leeds game today, I didn't think they did themselves that much credit. I think they played well, they played with determination, but they just weren't as good as us. And I think we'll play better teams, and one of the better teams we'll be playing next week will be Liverpool. And I think that's the big test. And if we can come away from Liverpool without losing, or we can come away with 7 points from such a difficult start, I think that sets us up really well for winning the league.